We will now learn how the scope is structured in a Scrum project. After all, we need to know what all this running is about, right? In the last lesson, we saw how the product scope was divided in pieces and how they were allocated to the different sprints. In a Scrum project, the documentation which contains the scope and requirements is called Product Backlog. The backlog represents the full list of requirements, including all functionalities, features, and attributes that the final product should have. It will be the key document to refer to whenever the product scope is discussed. Now let's see in more detail how the product backlog is formed, studying a few important elements. User stories and epics. In product development projects, the scope has to include not only the physical or tangible part of the product itself, but also the part about how people will use the product once it's ready. Topics such as how useful the product is, how easy it is to work with, how fast it is, what the user experience is like. These need to be captured and added to the requirements. If the scope of a project is a website for ordering pizza, for example, aspects such as how easy it is for somebody to navigate through the site and be able to quickly compare options, make a choice, and order the desired pizza would be very important. The focus cannot be only on creating the technical side of a website and missing such details, right? In order to be more comprehensive when capturing and documenting all kinds of requirements, Scrum projects use the so-called user stories. A user story is a one-sentence description of a specific desire, a capability of the system, a product feature, usually written by a person or group of people who will be the future users. Let's see some examples so we better understand. If we use our pizza website, possible user stories could be: as a user, I want to be able to scroll through the menu in order to quickly see all options I can choose from. As a user, I want to be able to see the ingredients of each pizza. As a user, I want to be able to pay for my order via Bitcoin, etc. Remember how each user story starts with, as a user, I want to be able to. This way of describing a requirement helps people open their minds and explain in a very practical way what will be important to them, exactly as a story. Furthermore, once this description gets to the technical team, it will be easier to put themselves in the shoes of the user and understand what is in their heads. Less room for misunderstandings. Note that our first example actually provides more details. It follows the format. As a user, I want to be able to ... in order to ... This template follows the best practices of user story description, as this last part, in order to, gives valuable insights of why the user is requesting the given functionality. This gives the technical team the opportunity to advise on alternative solutions to the same problem and potentially find a better way of reaching the user's goal. So, next time, when you start gathering user stories, try to apply this format. As a user, I want to be able to ... in order to ... User stories seem really useful indeed. Let's see how they're created in the first place. The process of gathering, discussing, and documenting them begins during the initial planning activities. It can happen in different ways. For example, the future users, or if the group is too big, e.g., consumers in a given market, representatives of these users are invited to workshop sessions, where they brainstorm together and generate the user stories. Another possible scenario is having user stories provided by the so-called product owner, or the person in charge of the product scope in a Scrum project. We will get back to this role a bit later. There may also be other ways of collecting stories and requirements, but it is important to give the chance to all relevant project stakeholders to contribute to this process with their knowledge and experience. A fun fact: user stories are typically associated with sticky notes, because when collected in a workshop, this is usually the way to write them down for the first time. Hence, you can often see a picture or a logo of a sticky note associated with the user stories. Of course, even if collected in this way, user stories should always then be documented in an electronic format. See how beneficial and also interesting it is to describe requirements via user stories. Great. Let's continue with the next video, where we will review the next element, epics.